Have you ever felt like giving up? Like the world is against you and you're fighting a battle you can't win? These are feelings of despair and loneliness that can often accompany the most challenging times in our lives. It's as if we are wading through a deep and murky swamp with no clear path in sight. The weight of the world seems unbearable, and we question if we have the strength to carry on. It's a struggle that feels solitary, a battle waged in the silent chambers of our hearts. But let me tell you, this struggle, this feeling of isolation, it's universal. From the highest peaks to the lowest valleys, from the richest king to the poorest servant, these feelings of despair and loneliness touch us all. And you might be surprised to know that some of the most revered figures in the Bible felt the same way. You are not alone. In fact, some of the greatest figures in the Bible felt the same way. Consider Job, a man who endured unimaginable suffering. Job was a man of immense wealth and prosperity. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters, and he owned thousands of sheep, camels, oxen, and donkeys. Job was a good and righteous man, always mindful of God's commandments. One day, Job's world turned upside down. In a series of calamitous events, he lost all his livestock to marauding enemies and natural disasters. His children perished when a mighty windstorm caused the house they were in to collapse. Job was left with nothing but his wife and his faith, but his trials didn't stop there. Job was then afflicted with painful sores from the soles of his feet to the crown of his head. His wife, seeing his misery, urged him to curse God and die. But Job, in his integrity, responded, "Shall we accept good from God and not trouble?" Job's friends came to comfort him, but their words were not of comfort. They insisted that Job must have sinned to deserve such suffering. Job, however, maintained his innocence. He lamented his situation, questioned why such misfortune had befallen him, but he never cursed God. In the midst of this tribulation, Job's faith was tested, yet he remained steadfast, refusing to give up or turn away from God. He declared, "Though he slay me, yet will I hope in him." In the end, God spoke to Job out of the storm, rebuking his friends for their lack of understanding and praising Job for his faith. God restored Job's fortunes, granting him twice as much as he had before, and blessed the latter part of his life more than the first. Job never gave up. He trusted in God even when everything seemed lost. His story serves as a beacon of hope for those who find themselves in the midst of trials and tribulations. It is a potent reminder that through faith and perseverance we can overcome even the darkest of times. Or think about David, the shepherd boy who became king. Now there's an inspiring tale of resilience and faith. David, a humble shepherd, was chosen by God to be a king. But his journey was not a walk in the palace gardens. It was a road filled with trials and tribulations. Let's rewind to the time when a towering giant named Goliath was terrorizing the Israelites. Here was David, a mere lad, choosing to face this fearsome warrior. Now you might think, what chance did a shepherd boy stand against a trained warrior? But David was not alone. He had faith in God by his side. He stepped onto the battlefield with nothing but a sling and a handful of stones, but he carried something far more powerful. He carried unwavering faith in God, and with that faith he slung the stone that struck down Goliath. He proved that physical strength pales in comparison to the power of faith. But David's journey was not all about victorious battles. He faced his share of struggles, from King Saul's envy to his own personal failings. There were times when he could have given up, succumbed to despair, or turned away from God. But did he? No. He chose to trust in God's plan, even when it seemed like everything was going against him. He held on to his faith, weathered the storm, and emerged stronger. David's story teaches us that it's not about the size of the challenge, but the strength of our faith. It shows us that when we trust in God, we can face any Goliath in our lives. It reminds us to stand firm, even when the world around us is shaking. David's faith in God gave him the strength to overcome his fears and challenges. And he didn't just survive, he thrived. He became a king, a man after God's own heart. So when you're facing your own giants, remember David, remember his courage, his faith, and his story. Don't give up, because with God on your side, you're stronger than you think. And then there's Moses, a man tasked with an impossible mission. Moses, a name that resonates with faith, courage, and an unwavering will to carry on, no matter how insurmountable the obstacles might seem. Moses was born into a world of hardship and oppression. He was sent down the Nile in a basket by his desperate mother, hoping for a better life for her son. Fate guided him into the arms of the Pharaoh's daughter, who raised him as her own. But Moses' journey was just beginning. As he grew older, Moses couldn't ignore the plight of his people, the Israelites. They were enslaved, suffering under the harsh rule of the Pharaoh. Moses was called by God to deliver his people from this oppression. He accepted this divine mission, even though the task before him seemed impossible. Moses confronted the Pharaoh, demanding the release of his people. Yet the Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he refused. But Moses, armed with faith and God's power, brought about 10 plagues upon Egypt. Only then did the Pharaoh relent and let the Israelites go. Their journey to freedom was fraught with danger and uncertainty. They found themselves trapped between the pursuing Egyptian army and the Red Sea. It was a moment of despair, a moment that could have broken their spirit. But Moses, he never gave up. Moses raised his staff, and by God's power the Red Sea parted. This extraordinary act of faith allowed the Israelites to cross on dry ground. But when the Egyptians tried to follow, the sea closed upon them, ensuring the Israelites' safe escape. Moses' story isn't just about the miraculous parting of the Red Sea. It's a testament to his unwavering faith and perseverance. Even when faced with impossible odds, Moses chose to trust in God's promise. He chose to forge ahead, to face the challenges, to stand firm in his faith. Moses trusted in God's promise and never gave up, leading his people to freedom. His story serves as a powerful reminder to all of us that with faith and perseverance, we too can overcome our Red Seas. These stories from the Bible teach us about the power of perseverance and trust in God. They serve as timeless reminders that no matter what we face, no matter how immense our struggles may seem, we are not alone. Consider the story of Job, a man who endured unimaginable suffering yet never wavered in his faith. He trusted wholeheartedly in God, even when his circumstances seemed dire and hopeless. Or take the story of David, the humble shepherd boy who would become a great king. David faced giant adversaries, both literal and figurative, but he never lost heart. Why? Because he trusted in God's provision and guidance. And then there's Moses, a man tasked with an impossible mission. He was called to lead an entire nation out of bondage through a barren desert towards a promised land. And yet, despite the enormity of the task, Moses persevered. He trusted in God, and in doing so, he led his people to freedom. These stories share a common thread. Each of these biblical figures faced staggering challenges, yet they persevered. They trusted in God, and in return, he provided them with strength and guidance. They were not immune to doubt or fear, but they chose to trust in God's plan, even when it seemed difficult to comprehend. In our lives, we may encounter our own giants, our own deserts, our own times of suffering, but remember, just as God was with Job, David, and Moses, he is with us too. He is the vine that nurtures us, the strength that fortifies us, and the spirit that lives within us. Trusting in God is not about ignoring our struggles or pretending they don't exist. It's about acknowledging that we don't have all the answers, and that's okay. It's about leaning into our faith, even when the path ahead is unclear. Remember, God is with you too. He is the vine, the strength, the one within you. The world might be tough, but don't give in, don't give up. In the grand tapestry of life, we often face trials and tribulations that can seem insurmountable. Challenges can appear like mountains, towering and unyielding. But remember, even mountains are worn down by the constant, persevering flow of rivers. Take a moment to consider the strength within you. It's not a fleeting, ephemeral thing. It's a constant, a steady flame that burns, powered by your spirit and the divine spark that is God's gift to you. God is the vine and we are the branches. He is our foundation, our source of strength and resilience. When the winds of hardship blow, we may bend, but we do not break. We stand firm, rooted in our faith, drawing sustenance from the vine that is God. Even when it feels like you're walking through the valley of shadows, remember that you're not alone. God is with you, guiding you, holding you up. When you thought you were abandoned, He was there carrying you, as the footprints in the sand were His, not yours. God said, "I am the way." He didn't promise an easy journey, but He did promise to be with us every step of the way. He promised to be our strength when we're weak, our comfort when we're grieving, our guide when we're lost. So when the world tries to bring you down, when it seems like all hope is lost, hold fast to your faith. Trust in the promise of God. Trust in your own potential. You are stronger than you think, braver than you believe, and loved more than you can ever imagine. Do not give up. Do not give in to the ways of the world. You are not defined by the struggles you face, but by how you face them. You were created by God, and you shall flourish by trusting in Him. Stand tall, Stand strong and keep moving forward. You have the strength within you to overcome, to thrive, and to flourish. After all, you are a child of God, and with Him all things are possible. In the face of adversity, remember the Bible's teachings. Do not give up. God is with you. Our journey today has taken us through the trials of Job, the courage of David, and the faith of Moses. Each story a testament to the strength we gain when we trust in God. When the world challenges you, remember you're not alone. God is the vine, the strength within you, cultivating your spirit to flourish despite the harsh conditions. Let's not keep this message to ourselves. Share this video with your loved ones, your friends, and even strangers. Encourage them to persevere, to trust in God, and to never succumb to the ways of the world. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to join our family. Together we can navigate through life's storms, fortified by our faith. May God bless you in all your endeavors. Thank you for watching.